totally done that. But sometimes I buy stuff from the op shop and then don't wear it. Our next speaker is Jamie Van Jones. She's the founder and the director of The Green Scene, a social eco-enterprise that helps businesses, communities, and individuals bring practical sustainability into their day-to-day actions. Jamie is an eco-entrepreneur, consultant, eco-educator, and blogger at jamievanjones.com. Her mission is to create practical change, making and inspiring sustainability one step at a time. Jamie has recently returned from an around-the-world trip and has lots of trip tips on how to travel slow and stay green while on holiday. Her next travels will be a lot slower. She plans on traveling up the coast and into Indonesia on her sailboat next April. And Jamie's also got another really lovely quality about her. She's Canadian. Please join me in welcoming Jamie.
Hi everyone, I'll just find my presentation for you. Okay. So thanks for having me, and thanks for the two wonderful speakers that just spoke before me. They were both had kind of poignant things that I think I can tie into what I'm going to be talking about, so that's good. So I'm going to be talking about travel, but I actually changed it from travel to actually talk about exploration, because I think that better encapsulates what I'm actually going to be telling you. And it's not all about slow, it's actually about practical things that we can all be doing, because yes, it's really important to focus on slow, but there's also what we're actually all going to be doing in our lives at some point. Is going to be traveling in probably a pretty fast way. But I'm going to cover a few different things, and what's included is how my love and passion for sustainability and all of the work that I do is completely connected to my travel experiences, how that creates a massive problem for me, and how I'm trying to solve that problem. I believe so much in the value of traveling and actually being able to explore, and I'm not really talking about the type of travel where you go and spend a week at a resort and lay on a beach, even though that's definitely needed at times and definitely what people should do. But what I'm talking about is the type of travel that pushes your boundaries, that makes you step out of your comfort zones, that puts you in new places and new experiences where you're forced to learn and open up your horizons and actually see things in a different way. It's the type of travel that, yeah, makes you step up, and if you haven't done that type of travel, I really encourage that you do. So I'm just going to go through a couple of my favorite travel quotes to get started. The world is a book, and those who do not travel only read one page. And that's Augustine of Hippo. Mark Twain has a great one. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime. Never does nature say one thing and wisdom another. That was Iceland, by the way. And traveling is a brutality. It forces you to trust strangers, to lose sight of all the familiar comforts and familiar friends, comforts of home and friends. You're constantly off balance. Nothing is yours except the essential things: air, sleep, dreams, the sea, and the sky. That's Cesar Pepys. So, as Dennis said, I'm from Canada, and I've had this amazing privilege to travel many places in the world. I've traveled through North America, Central America, East Africa, all around New Zealand, and Australia as well. And that's opened me up to so many amazing places and new experiences, and it's completely opened my eyes to help me connect to why I need to take care of this planet. And part of it is for me, but also is for the next generation. Truly believe that we need to be taking more care today and actually changing the way that we live so that future generations actually get to explore this amazing planet of ours. So this leaves me with a massive dilemma. I love traveling, I love exploring different parts of the world. I still want to see so much of it, but I don't want it to be at the expense of the planet. So I've had to try to figure out what to do with that. And I recently went home to Canada. I got engaged, which is really exciting, and we went and had an engagement party back where I'm from, so that all my relatives didn't have to come here for the wedding. And on the way we added a few trips because basically where I am and where I'm from in Canada is pretty much on the opposite side of the world. So we added Hawaii, we added the west coast of Canada, east coast of Canada, Iceland, and Tasmania, as you do. And it ended up being a round-the-world trip. And then I started feeling really guilty about taking this round-the-world trip because I want to be living lighter on the planet. So I'm just going to share some of the things that I started looking at when I looked at this trip about how I can, one, not feel guilty, and two, just look at how I could use it as an experience to tread lighter as I'm traveling, what the things that I could actually do while I'm traveling, and then how I could actually share that with other people so other people could take on that same experience. So I'm going to go through 5 easy tips to have a greener travel experience. So dealing with your carbon emissions. Now I didn't just tick the box on my airline tickets that says offset. I did a lot of research into what that actually, the pros and cons of carbon offsetting and what we actually need to be doing if we are going to be taking flights, especially long distance ones. And after a lot of looking into it and actually writing a blog about it on my website, I found a local organization, Carbon Neutral, who's run by Men of the Trees. And they're actually an organization that I feel really comfortable carbon offsetting with because they plant native species, they regenerate degraded land, they are improving soil and adding biodiversity, all while capturing carbon. So we had 122 trees planted to cover our carbon footprint as we were traveling on this big trip, my fiance and I. And before you go and book your round-the-world trip, I'm not actually advocating for people to fly around the world. So there's a lot of exploration and things that we need to be doing closer to home that I think you can get the same benefits from, which I'll be talking about. So dealing with waste. Now everywhere I go, I bring these 4 things with me. A reusable bag, a water bottle, a reusable coffee cup, and a cutlery set, which I have them all here because I literally take them with me everywhere. Now, I actually don't just use them as a way to reduce waste, I actually use them as another way to raise awareness as I'm going places. So sometimes if reusable bags aren't a common thing, you pull this out and it's a talking point for the shop clerk that you're talking to, for the person behind you in line. It's a way to kind of raise awareness about how we can all be reducing our waste and living lighter on the planet. And same thing with the other items. So water bottle is essential in making sure that I'm not using that single-use plastic everywhere I go. Bringing my own cutlery set means I can enjoy all those street food carts and trucks, and I don't have to actually feel guilty using all that plastic that ends up going to waste. Now there's always going to be waste when you travel, but it's about how you minimize it, and then it's actually about being aware. So just because you leave your home country doesn't mean that you shouldn't know about what actually happens to the waste in another place. So it's about researching, do they have recycling, what bin do you put it in, how do you make those decisions instead of just dumping it somewhere into a bin that you don't know where it's actually going. So every single place that we stopped, I researched their waste management of each country and to figure out what was actually happening with their waste. And it was pretty fascinating going to some islands and actually figuring out what their waste management procedures are. Now that was my extreme. It doesn't mean that everyone should do that, but at least figure out what bin to put it in and whether it's the right one. So the next one is Seek Out Green. So there's lots of people looking at ecotourism, and I do believe that there are some great things out there that you should look for. But then you're going to come across labels like that, 100% eco-friendly, you're going to come across eco-certified, and then all of the millions of other ones. So I think if you're looking for a green thing that's out there, whether it's a hotel provider, a tourism operator, whatever it is, you can look at these, but when you actually go to it and pay money to these providers, if you don't think it's that eco, ask questions, make suggestions, and kind of question things. But then if you do think someone's going out of their way and providing a great service that's actually better for the planet, thank them and congratulate them, and then give them a glowing review on TripAdvisor. Because I do believe that we need to be focusing more on ecotourism and how we all need to be contributing towards that. The next one is buy local. So this goes for no matter where you are. A lot of these are very applicable to when we're at home, but especially when you're overseas. If you're going to be buying things or staying at a hotel, aim for a locally run organization or buying from a local maker. And so that you're actually buying something that's coming from that place. It's part of the travel experience of you actually being in that culture and experiencing what's there. So if you're buying something that could be made in China and shipped around the world, it doesn't have the same unique qualities as if you're buying something straight from a place. Ooh, that went quick. Okay, so the other ones are leave only light footprints. Make sure you know about the local environment and its issues where you are. reduce on the unnecessary. So if you grab a stack of brochures, maybe put it back in the rack so that you're not actually having to get more and more printed, things like that. Admire nature and take photos, but don't actually interfere with it. These are all really basic things, but they're things that we need to keep in mind every time that we go someplace new, even if it's just for a business trip. And then everything that you do at home, do it while traveling. So for me, I always use natural body products because I believe what we put on our body gets washed off into the ocean and down into our water systems. So I travel with eco-cosmetics, and everything is waste-free and actually non-plastic, and that can be safely used. And I go through all of that kind of stuff on my blog. The next one is actually looking at, okay, so if we don't do those quick trips, that week to Bali and that sort of thing, what else can you be doing? So last year I had a staycation, which is where you actually stay home and explore around you. So actually staying wherever you're from, trying out new things in your neighborhood, going to new restaurants, staying home and actually just spending time there. And that can be an amazing way that you can still get the same experiences of traveling. It's just about changing your mindset and actually incorporates a lot of the slow philosophies that Claire was talking about. Then there's the other alternatives of biking or hiking and actually using ulterior methods of transport to get you places and actually put you in an experience where you're seeing what's around you and you're really absorbing it. Or the third one, which is what I'm planning on doing, is sailing. So because I still want to explore this world and I still want to see things, I decided that I needed to find that sustainable method of transport. And wind transport is kind of what I'm going after. So for the last 6 years, my fiance and I have been planning how we can set sail on a boat and go to far-flung places. And it's only coming to fruition now. So in April, we plan on sailing up the Western Australian coast, and the first stop is towards eastern Indonesia. We're going to be taking 8 months on that trip to actually, depending on the wind and weather conditions, but to actually take time and go exploring. And we also wanted to do something positive while we're going, so we're partnering with an international NGO that's going to be providing research scientists and artists opportunities to come on board the boat with us at different places and do some projects up and down the Western Australian coast, which is really exciting. But to me, this is going to be the ultimate eco-travel. It's about how I can slow down and actually connect to the places that I'm going. It's taken 6 years to get to the point of being feeling that we have the right boat, we have the right skills, and that we're ready to do it. So it's been an entire different form of travel from my 2 months going around the world. And I'll be sure to come back and tell you about how it goes after this first 8-month trip. After we do that, we're going to decide where we're going to take the boat to next, but we're kind of giving it an 8-month shot to start with. So you can follow, this is our boat. It's 36 foot, so it's comfortable enough for 2, maybe 4 people. Salty Times is our blog that we're actually putting up a lot about our trip and about how we're getting prepared and all the things that we're doing. You can also find us on Facebook and on Instagram. And then the blog that I run is jamievanjones.com. So everything I do is about the small and positive actions that we can each be taking every day, because when it's multiplied across millions of people, it's actually what is going to transform the world, I believe. And it's all about the easy things that we can incorporate out into our lives and how to make the difficult things more easy. And I'm actually running an online course at the moment. The enrollments are going until January. It starts in January. It's called The Blissful Eco Life. It's all about that philosophy of how you can make eco-living more easy and bring it into your life, and kinds of guides you through the different things that you can take on and how you can step up and be more sustainable. Thanks very much.